Scorpio friends, and welcome to your horoscope for May of 2022. Where Scorpio, this month we have got a full moon lunar eclipse happening in your sign, so definitely doing some shedding, doing some ending, acknowledgement, and adjustment to release some things that are stopping you from being the best version of yourself or having an experience of putting yourself out there as the best version of yourself. I also think for you, Scorpio, this month, it's not the easiest of months necessarily, energetically anyways, but it is navigatable. You can definitely do this. There are simply some things that it's time to surrender, and you know this is going to show up in a various amount of forms for you out there. So I look forward to talking about that. We've also got Mercury going retrograde, Jupiter moving into the energy of Aries, Mars coming home into the energy of Aries, so domicile energy working very fast and effectively, and Venus coming in to Taurus. So busy month. Let's get in here and talk about what's going on. Right at the beginning of the month on the 2nd, we're going to see Venus move into the energy of Aries, lighting up your 6th house space. Now, Venus in Aries, the tendency is to say, I see it, I want it, I got it, right? And that is actually to just go out there and impulsively grab bag things in that Aries energy, or to like clunk something over your head, or to like take that project, clunk it over your head and drag it back to your lair, or try to demand that your health become something, is actually a really hard use of Venus in this position. We want to remember that Venus is an attracting energy. So in the energy of Aries in your 6th house, it's saying, put yourself out there in a very Aries way. I'm willing to initiate. I'm willing to start. I'm willing to be bold. I'm willing to have a fresh take and do something a little creative, put my energy and my heart out here. But I'm going to do that and show up in a way that is very attractive and lets these projects, lets my health and wellness come to me. What feels good in my body? What feels good in my daily routine? Where am I ready to have a daily routine in my life, a schedule that I feel like I'm a little bit more in love with than the one that's going on right now? This is a big deal because Scorpio, what's happening in your daily routine for you really wreaks havoc on your mental and emotional wellness. So getting this area of your life into some kind of shape and being quite Aries, quite assertive about it, is really a phenomenal use of Venus. Venus can also bring finance or relationship that is valuable to you into your daily routine. So if you are a freelance person or you're looking for work, this could be a wonderful time to use that Venus in Aries to have that opportunity. When we get to the 3rd, we're going to see Jupiter, who's in the energy of Pisces still at this point, in a sextile to Pluto, one of your ruling planets, who's retrograde at this point. Now, as Jupiter and Pluto come into a sextile, they create a pocket of opportunity, but it is a pocket of opportunity, or an opportunity that presents itself, and we intelligently take action to make use of the opportunity. And what this is really about is, where have you seen that you have a different sense of alignment with your purpose, or what makes you a valuable resource in your life, in the world, with the people around you? Where is your domestic situation changing? And so you realize you have a different set of ambitions, right? Where and what are your ambitions? What do you really enjoy doing, and what really brings you a sense of freedom and expansion that now you're motivated to take action on that? An opportunity could present itself at this time, but what it's going to also ask you to do and demand, I think, really of you, is to grow. You have to grow and change, which means you're going to have to let something go in order to have this next opportunity. But some of that growth work you've likely already done, and the rest, I think this lunar eclipse will help you take care of. Now, as a note, on the 4th and the 5th, we're going to see the Sun and Uranus traveling together, and this is over in your relationship house. And this is why I say this month has got a lot of electricity going on within you and your relationships, because as the Sun and Uranus come together, absolutely anything's possible. Expect the unexpected in your relationships. Now, this can be extraordinarily positive. Maybe you see someone in a different light in your relationship. Maybe something you've been indecisive about something in your relationship, and Uranus cracks that nut open and is like, make a decision. You know, it helps you see something from a different perspective, but it can also be something that feels very challenging. What is unfolding in your relationship? If there have been cracks or things that you haven't been talking about, this can just be an expect the unexpected kind of energy, okay? On the 10th, busy day. Please circle it on your calendar because I do think that energetically, really, between the 10th and the 18th of this month are just buzzing with energy. But the 10th really specifically has got a lot going on because we've got Mercury going into retrograde at 4 degrees of Gemini. So stationing to move backwards or to face backwards, right? And that's an optical illusion. Now, as Mercury is retrograde, it's going to be at retrograde until January 3rd, where it will come out of retrograde at 26 degrees of Taurus. And we'll see the full retrograde cycle end January 18th at 4 degrees of Gemini, okay? So really what you're watching for, Scorpio, in your chart is what's been going on between 4 degrees of Gemini and 26 degrees of Taurus. Very specifically, look at that in your chart and it'll tell you what you're looking at in this retrograde cycle, okay? As Mercury does go retrograde, you're reviewing, re-editing, revising, rethinking, reconnecting, reuniting. Maybe you'll be spending this period going back to something that you had done in your life previously. Whatever that looks like, it's definitely a go back time. Now, Scorpio, if you have Mercury retrograde in your chart, instead of a going back to and feeling like you're going in, you may actually find yourself going out to some new adventures because it's almost like an energetic homecoming, right? So the rest of us are running in and you're running out. So if you've got Mercury retrograde in your chart, let me know if you experience this retrograde cycle differently than maybe what you're hearing other people who don't have it retrograde, like as they're explaining it. Also on that day, we've got Jupiter leaping into the energy of Aries, and now it is like woof, woof, right? Jupiter in Aries. This again will light up your 6th house space. So projects, daily routine, health and wellness, including mental health and wellness, being of service to other people, co-workers, work. These all fall into the 6th house arena. So physically, Scorpio, if you've got something going on in your health, right, you can see it catch fire and get a little bit bigger. But instead of thinking of this as like, oh my God, I'm having this terrible flare up, right? Aries, something's going on and it's time for me to put attention on it. And that's why Jupiter's offered a magnifying glass. You can definitely use it in that way. The other thing about the Jupiter in Aries energy is that it's really an opportunity for you, Scorpio, to get things done in your daily routine or in the 6th house mundane area by simply enacting action. Just put some action. What actions need to be taken? Do your dishes, do that laundry, find a workout routine, find a health practitioner that you will actually go see. Sit down and be with your mental health and wellness and your body and initiate these practices. You'll get a big expansion in this particular area. Now, as we get to the 16th, we're going to have this full moon lunar eclipse happening in the energy of Scorpio. So right there in your 1st house at 25 degrees. Now, if you will look at the chart, you can see there's a lot going on. There's a lot of planets that are talking to this particular eclipse. Saturn is squaring this eclipse. So that's a little bit of a different, conversation, a fixed energy. But really, this is where I think the rubber's hitting the road for you, Scorpio. I really do. Now, we had this solar eclipse in Taurus, which is great. It brought revelations of something that we're very materially trying to build and bring value to, right? And maybe you tried to do this already, in your past and you couldn't quite hit the mark. And now this has kind of been your second chance opportunity. But in order to do that, under this particular Scorpio eclipse, which is asking us to end something, acknowledge something, or make an adjustment, especially over this next 6 months, something is being released. Right now, Scorpio, were you in a contract for a very long time? Think 18, 19 years. Were you paying child support for 18, 19 years and this is the year that it ends? Do you have patterns of belief, actions, behaviors, control, and power struggles that are actually stopping you from being the best version of yourself? Whatever it is, whatever has been in the control center for you that is actually preventing your growth, I think you really get to see this, and over the next 6 months, it's going to shine some light for you to open your hands, let go of the chokehold on whatever the situation is, which doesn't mean that you're doing it on purpose. Sometimes we subconsciously are holding on to things that we think are holding us together or are important to us, or we were passionate about once and now we're not anymore. And we slowly start to see that we have to release that out into what's next because it's stopping us from moving forward. So I very much so think that you'll be experiencing that. And this will be dynamic because so much of the focus is on you and the relationships, okay? When we get to the 20th, we're going to see the sun enter into the energy of Gemini, bringing light, heat, life, vitality, curiosity, conversation. It is busy. We're ready to network. We've got all of that going on in your 8th house. Joint resources, okay? Someplace where you and another resource come together, and if that resource changes up for some reason, it will definitely have an impact on you. Intimacy, sex, your reproductive systems, healing, traumas, therapy, astrology. These all live in the area of the 8th house because we transform from one thing to another when we get to the root of what's going on. So this could be a time for you too where you're having a lot of conversation with other people because you're having to do something together in a joint way, whether it's a collaboration or a sponsorship, or you're talking about those taxes, whatever it is, or therapy to see what it is you need to let go of. I still, again, have this sense for you, Scorpio. Many of you, by the time we get to 2023, are being released from contracts that you've been in maybe for a very long time. Maybe you've ended and you're clearing out your debt, and this is what that's actually pointing to. Now, on the 22nd, Mercury is going to take its retrograde from Gemini back into the energy of Taurus, so back into the 7th house. So there is a relationship, right? You're going back over it in some way. There's some changes being made here. So maybe you're having a conversation about it. You're needing to make some new decisions. There's review happening about it. I just keep having this sense. I just keep being shown for you, Scorpio. You're being released from a contract, and there might have a heavy financial involvement in some way. So please let me know in the comment section down below if that's you. On the 24th, we're going to see Mars now move into the energy of Aries, and Mars in Aries, Mars is one of your ruling planets, okay? But Mars in Aries is very focused. It's single-minded. So what are you doing? Put your head where your hands are at. Jupiter and Mars are also going to come together this month, and we'll talk more about that in the weekly. But this is going to create a very single-minded expansion into your day-to-day life. So I really want you to be paying attention to that. But Mars in Aries all the way until July, we're going to be working with this energy. So be single-minded, single-focused with what you're doing. That's the best use of that Mars energy. But go on ahead, get it done. Initiate that project, initiate that workout routine, initiate that being of service to somebody else. Buy that dog, buy that cat, whatever that looks like for you. As we get to the 28th, we're going to see Venus move into the energy of Taurus. So she's also in domicile at this time. Now this lights up your 7th house. Whew, thank you, Venus, for coming to the 7th house, because what in your relationship needs some salve? Or you need to be able to see and acknowledge the beauty in it. Where have you missed the value of the relationships that are in your life? They have shaped you. They have changed you. They have given you information. They have challenged you. Where have you not seen the pleasure in your relationships? And this is going to be all the way until June 22nd, an opportunity for you to enact the pleasure principle in your relationships. And truly, in your relationships, do you have pleasure? Do you have joy? Is there play? Is there something luscious and refreshing and decadent about the relationships that you're in? Is there a relationship that you're choosing to be in, some kind of partnership that's also financially valuable to you, or it's changing in its financial value? We can definitely see that energy with Venus, but ultimately Venus is trying to help these relationships, which have been, I think, a challenge, have been a change. Let me say that for you, Scorpio, to be all good in the hood, okay? All right, as we're closing out this month on the 30th, we're going to see a new moon happening at 9 degrees of Gemini. So we're going to be planting our seeds of intention to begin something new in your 8th house, in your joint resources, your most intimate connections, your passions, your reproductive system, all of those areas. What are you curious about? What conversations are you wanting to have? What are you willing to teach? What do you want to learn? What is there something that you want to initiate or that you feel like you need to have a conversation about? This is the particular new moon that I think you'll be able to do that. And of course, we'll get a little bit more into that as we go through the new moon for your month as you're watching the rest of the playlist, okay? All right, my beautiful Scorpios, I don't think energetically it's the easiest month, but it is really all about where you're at and how you are handling yourself. So try and be as conscious as you can about the decisions that you're making and understand that truly there is a sense of leaving that is happening for you all through this year, but certainly as this lunar eclipse is available to you now, it's a sense of shedding and letting it go because you just have to Phoenix. You cannot be the person you were even a year ago if you're to survive and thrive in what life has for you next. All right, my beautiful Scorpios, like this video, comment, share, subscribe. I love you, and I'll see you next month. Bye.